So You Think You Can Dance has won a record 11 Emmys for Best Choreography, and 2 of those went to Travis Wall, who is nominated again this year. Travis, this is actually your 9th nomination, which actually ties you with Derek Hough, and for this as the second biggest nominee in the category. You're both behind Debbie Allen, who has 11. So what's it like just being in that company?
There's no words. First of all, Debbie Allen has been my dance teacher since I was about 12 years old. So it's really crazy that, obviously my mom and Debbie are really close, and, Derek and I are such great friends. And if you just look at the history of the category as well, there's a 6-way tie for people that have won 3 Emmys. And to even know that I'm possibly up to join that cast of, people that were pioneers in the industry, people that have been major inspirations of mine, role models of mine. These people changed the course of choreography and television, and it's really hard to put into words. And you can see I'm so lucky, or I'm so thankful, and this is just when you look at it, I never thought this was in the cards for me. I never thought I would be in this position, and it's really, to be honest, it's very humbling, as much as crazy as that sounds, because it's just such an extraordinary achievement within itself. It grounds me just how did I get here, and who put me here? How was I voted to be here? And it's really extraordinary, and I don't know how to describe it.
And actually, there could be more history for So You Think You Can Dance, too, because you and Luther Brown are both nominated. And so if one or both of you wins, the show overall has won 16 Emmys. And the all-time record for a competition show is 17, which is Dancing with the Stars. So you guys just need one. So what would it be like to be the most awarded reality competition show?
This show has changed my life and so many others around us. We are a family, and it is, I was a contestant. Think about it. I was 18 years old, and I auditioned 13 years ago, and I have now grown up. I'm a completely different person when I was 18 years old, and a huge part of that is because of So You Think You Can Dance. I think that this show 100% is completely responsible for giving choreographers household names. And, for an occupation that has always presented itself behind the camera, you knew about choreographers because of So You Think. And it's completely changed the way anyone. I don't think anyone knew what a choreographer was until it was So You Think You Can Dance. Anybody in, the typical household of America didn't really know what a choreographer did, and now they do. And I think because of So You Think, it's opened the doors for so many other dance shows on television, and almost every network has a dance show, and which is so incredible because dance should be everywhere. It's infectious, and it's passionate, and it's inspiring, and it does bring a lot of beautiful things to this sometimes really crazy, absurd world.
And you're nominated for 2 routines that you choreographed for last season that aired last summer. It Takes a Lot to Know a Man and Glass Heart Concerto. I feel like as soon as I saw It Takes a Lot to Know a Man last season, I'm like, well, that's on the Emmy reel. It just seemed really clear. Was it that clear to you, at the time when you were choreographing that, and when you saw it performed?
To be very honest, I've been trying to do this piece for about 4 years. And I brought it to the show 4 years ago and to the producers, and, just with the music not being cleared, and because it was it has to be that song, this concept, the song inspired me and brought back memories of what is a man, what makes that up. And then just brought back kind of how my upbringing and how I was bullied and how you felt like I had to act a certain way or be a certain person to be accepted in society. And so I've been trying to do it for a while, and every season I bring it back. And, Jeff Thacker, the executive producer, was like, it's not this year. It's not this year. We don't have the right contestant. And to be quite honest, I always got very upset. And I was just like, this is the time to do it. And I get very I got to do this piece. This means a lot to me. This means someone's got to see this piece. This is going to affect somebody, and someone's got to see this right now. It's going to change their life. And And the timing was never right. And the minute that Darius walked on that show, and I went to Jeff and we both said, I was like, he has to do this piece. This piece is him. This piece is inside his DNA. I was like, please give me this opportunity. And it was just like, again, it's because someone has to see this piece. This is not about awards or accolades or recognition or putting this on my Emmy reel. I was like, I need to get this off. I need to get this off my chest. And I was like, and there's got to be somebody out there that needs to see this piece, that it's going to either change their mind, it's going to open up their life, and it's going to give them an opportunity to be themselves. And so that's kind of like all of these things. And usually the pieces I create, they're bigger than the purpose itself. And I try as much as I possibly can to use my platform to create change in this world and to speak to somebody that might not be able to have an opportunity to speak for themselves. So when the piece came out, obviously you never know how a piece is going to go. You know, sometimes like, oh, I can't wait to put this piece out there. And then it's just, it's sometimes a crash and burn moment. But this one was not. And I think that the minute that the piece hit, that we knew the volumes that it was going to speak and the ripple effect it was going to have through not only just the dance community, but on social media and the amount of people that have come up to me through that piece. And we all felt it. I felt it in the studio, and it was a very, very special moment for this show. And, you know, Nigel and I have had many conversations about it, which, again, I feel that sometimes this show kind of really, you know, strongly puts the guys should dance strong. We don't want, you know, men to dance like women. You know, a man's got to play a role, and which is totally agreeable when you're, you know, when you're dancing with a woman and things like that. But for this piece to be so manipulated and structured and catered towards the beauty of Darius as a dancer and what the story was actually saying, for him to be applauded of dancing and just being himself on stage, it was a really big moment for the show and dance in general. And I'm just, again, I'm so honored to have just taken part of it and been a reason that it actually appeared on television for something that it may had never seen the light of day.
And Darius really does seem to have been your muse, because he's performs in Glass Heart Concerto 2, your other routine that's nominated for an Emmy. What made you select that one for, you know, consideration, and what was it about working with Darius that that really kind of made those two routines such highlights for him and for your work?
You know, I had a lot of work last year, and when it came down to putting what was going to be the body of work for the Emmy, because of the piece, it takes a lot to know a man. There was so many other different kind of styles of, like, you know, I had musical theater and I had something that was more uplifting and I had all these things, and nothing felt like it should have gone with that piece. Like there was such a tone, and especially if I started the package with that piece, that something else had to follow, that it didn't feel like, whoa, what was that? Like, it's so contrasted. Why would you also put this together? So I felt like my body of work, I wanted to create a tone and a palette instead of just saying, look at all the different things I can do this season. And, you know, the piece that you're talking about, Glass Heart Concerto, it was the first week of the competition. So I had just met Darius. He had just been partnered up with Magda. And, you know, in the very beginning of the season, they don't like you to get very conceptual. They want to show the dancers off. That's where there's a lot of technique in that piece. There's a lot of turns. There's a lot of partnering. There's a lot of flash in that way. But at the same time, I was going through a major breakup in my life, and that piece just felt like kind of like one of our last conversations before we split, of just like, you know, the words are coming out to like all of our truth is coming out this time. And so I was a very emotional wreck during last season, for sure, because it was like the most vulnerable that I'd ever been. And at the same time, I'm creating from my inner turmoil, and it's going out to millions of people. So I was a bit of broken glass, if you'd say. So it really felt like my heart was made of glass. And when I found that song, that remix by Blondie, I was like, I have to do this song.
And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you're not alone with your nomination this year. Luther Brown is also in the running. And, you know, this is your 9th nomination, but it's his first. So
Yes.
what's it like being nominated alongside him?
I don't think you understand Luther and I's relationship. Like, he is my favorite person in the world. We've just gotten so close. And like right after last season, we went down into Atlanta for a couple of weeks and step up high water together. They sometimes have to separate us at the show when we sit in the audience together because we are out of control. We are laughing hysterically. The stuff that we say to each other is incredible. So first of all, he killed last season. Like, he did every episode and every routine he like put out there was an absolute banger. I'm literally his biggest fan. I want to do all of his work and I want to be in every single one of his numbers. Every time I see him, I'm like, yep, I'm learning that one too. I'll show you that one next week. Don't worry, I got the steps. And the minute he got nominated, I just like flipped out because it's his first nomination, and I think he should have had one way before this. And we freaked out and was like, all right, we're gonna have the best time together, especially as the two of us representing So You Think You Can Dance this year. So we're gonna have the best time at the Governor's Ball. Again, he's literally just like next door. Like, he's in the studio right now because we film our live show tomorrow, so we're just on a bit of a dry block. So I came in here to do this. I love him so much, and I'm just so proud of him and so excited for him that this finally happened because it is well deserved.
And also nominated in the category this year is World of Dance and World of Dance and World of Dance and World of Dance.
Yep.
There are 4 nominations. What's great about this year is that between So You Think You Can Dance and World of Dance, this category has contemporary, it has hip-hop, it has Latin dancing, it has Indian-inspired dance. Like, it's all literally all over the map.
Yeah.
What would you like to see that kind of wide array in this category?
It's amazing for so many reasons. It's an incredible collection of different types of dance and different styles. At the same time, World of Dance is their first nominations. I think that last year they should have been nominated as well. And it's very exciting that they got, these nominations this year. And it's a category of newcomers. I remember when, right before my first nomination, and you had all these heavy hitters in my category, and before I was even nominated, it is so hard just to like get your foot in the door. And I just remember like trying. So I was like, maybe this is gonna be the year I get recognized. And I just know what that feeling feels like. And so it's so incredible that there's so many this year. And again, just like with Emmy voting, it's like apples and oranges. Like, it is the best of the best of the best of the best in this category when it comes down to these styles of dance. And it's like, all right, what's everyone feeling today? Do I want to, do I want to go down? Do I want to have some Mexican food? Am I feeling some sushi today? It's kind of like when you're picking dinner. It's like, all right, what am I feeling today? Especially those production numbers on World of Dance, they're just so flashy, and it's just like, you're just like, how are they doing this? It's a completely different vibe of World of Dance. These people are coming in like professionals ready to go, and then on, So You Think, we're like, we got a week to like choreograph these people we just met. So it's so incredible that these two shows are up for these nominations.
And this season on So You Think You Can Dance that you're in the middle of now, we're in the top 10, top 10 performers for the live shows. 5 of them are contemporary dancers. Is that really exciting for you, knowing that you have so many people to work with? And not just them, of course. The other 5 are excellent dancers too, who can execute pretty much anything.
Listen, if you look at like the tally mark of how many contemporary dancers have been through the shows, basically since season 5, once it's the trained dancers that always make it through the academy. I mean, the list is here, you know what I mean, compared to like the other styles that make up that list. It's just that the trained dancers just make it further. But everyone trains for So You Think You Can Dance now. It's it's not like you have been living under a rock and you're like, wait, I got to do different styles. That doesn't make any sense. So the ballroom dancers are training in contemporary and hip hop, and vice versa. So everyone can do everything, and everyone's so talented here. I have a couple more minutes before I go back in. I'm doing the opening number this week, and this is another one of those pieces where the weight of it before it's going to hit the air. And the kids were crying yesterday after doing the piece, and because it's a very heavy with just the state of everything going on right now with all the gun violence and how many people we're losing. And it's if you watch Monday, you'll know what I mean. What this piece is like, it speaks volumes. And I'm excited to put it out there because people need to see it. People need to wake up. People, enough is enough, really.
And when you're, obviously dance is an incredibly musical art form. Do you hear a piece of music and think that that's a dance I need to create? And if so, what music has been inspiring you lately? If you can reveal anything.
Let me see. Honestly, I've been having a hard time with music lately. I feel like I'm not finding. I'm finding a lot of music I love to listen to dance to normally, like just like to go out to or just like to listen to my car, but to like create, I haven't truly been so moved or driven to create some new music lately. I've been listening to a lot of old music and a lot of just bringing back a lot of decades through music I've either used before, I have never used, or music I'm just now discovering that's 50 years old. I've been bringing a lot of that back and being inspired by that. I'm going into New York this weekend to start a new musical called The Wrong Man, and that music is inspiring. This guy named Ross Golan has written this body of work that I'm choreographing and Thomas Kail is directing, and I'm excited for this to open up in October. That music's inspiring, and choreographing, Broadway shows. This is kind of like my next, those were the next goals I really wanted to do. I moved to New York last year to chase my New York dream now. I feel like, my LA dream's still here and it's still thriving and living, but I really wanted to move to New York and to set new goals for myself. So that's kind of what's inspiring me right now.
And before I let you go, I have to ask about the another choreography gig you had this season on RuPaul's Drag Race, where you choreographed and guest judged and put the queens through Drag Olympics. I can imagine that must be a very different experience than choreographing and training for dancers for So You Think You Can Dance.
Absolutely. However, it's one of my favorite experiences. It's actually really long days. It doesn't seem like that, but over the 48 hours, I was pretty much at that studio for 40 hours. And because once the cameras go off, you have to create the routine on them, and it has to be rehearsed so it's well enough for them to actually film it. So it's very, very, very fast. Of course, I love the judging part so much. Choreographing them, it's kind of like structuring what they can and can't do and trying to make something work. What I do love is I love to add a bit of humor and comedy, especially when you're working with drag queens. So that stuff is always so fun. Those girls crack me up. Every time I do that show, it's just one of my favorite shows to work on, and because I'm the biggest fan of that show. I have watched every single season. Probably I've watched every episode 3 or 4 times. I am such fans of their careers after the show as well. I follow so many of those girls around. Some of them are my actual friends as well. It is, again, RuPaul's Drag Race is amazing.
Thank you so much for your time, Travis, and congratulations on your Emmy nomination. And I want to thank everyone watching and listening. You can watch more of our Emmy interviews in our Emmy Contenders playlist on YouTube and make your Emmy predictions at goldderby.com. And you can make your So You Think You Can Dance predictions at goldderby.com as well. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.